The feeling of being overwhelmed or unable to cope with mental and emotional pressure is stress. Stress is our body's response to pressure. Many different situations or life events can cause stress. Sometimes this stress response can be useful. It can help us push through fear or pain. However, too much stress can cause negative effects. Long term, this can affect our physical and mental health. As per the result of large-scale survey conducted across India in 2019, young adults between the age of 20 and 29 years of both genders were the most stressed in the country. The major cause of high-level stress among young people are peer pressure, pressure to succeed in academics or work, and irregular routine. 50% of Indian professionals have reported that an uncertain future is their topmost source of stress, as was revealed in a recently concluded survey by the Seventh Fold, a boutique HR and well-being firm. Every year, the world celebrates International Stress Awareness Week from 1st to 5th November. The day encourages people to sit back, unwind, and embrace peace. Awareness about this became even more significant this year due to the tough times people across the world have gone through in the COVID-19 outbreak. We at MediCircle are conducting International Stress Awareness Week series, wherein we will be featuring experts in this field to understand and create more awareness about the effects of stress. Hello, I am Aprajita Mehra, and today our guest for the talk is Dr. Divya Nallur. Dr. Divya Nallur got her basic medical degree from the prestigious Bangalore Medical College. She then moved to the UK for higher education. She obtained her postgraduate degrees, MRC, Psych, MSc, PG Diploma, and CCT from UK, the Royal College of Psychiatrists, Cardiff University, and Birmingham University, respectively. She worked in UK at consultant level for 6 years before returning back to India in 2014. She has been in private practice ever since and has successfully co-founded People Tree Marg, a mental health unit in North Bangalore. She currently works as a senior consultant and addiction specialist at People Tree Marg. In recognition of her work in the field of mental health since 2005, she has been awarded the Fellowship of the Royal College of Psychiatrists in December 2021. It is our privilege to welcome her today on Dr. Speak. Welcome to MediCircle, Dr. Divya. How are you today, ma'am?
Good evening. I'm great. Thank you.
So quickly moving on to my first question for tonight, which is, are adults more prone to stress than kids, doctor?
I think it's a common misperception that adults are the only ones who get stressed. But I think adults and children can get equally stressed. But the manifestation of stress can be in different forms in different age groups. So in adults, we may, have irritability, angry outbursts, or any of those kinds, or even depression and anxiety. But in children, there may be other things like, lack of sleep, not able to focus in studies, or unable to socialize with people. So the manifestation of stress may be different, but I don't think necessarily that there's any lesser stress on kids than in adults.
All right. So if at all the parents observe that the child is, doesn't seem normal and they feel that their child is suffering from any kind of stress, what care should they take, or how should they actually behave, and how to reach out to the child?
So like I told in the last answer, so the manifestation of stress in children can come out as different things, especially depending on the age of the children as well. So especially with teenagers, and there may be just withdrawal, decreased socialization. It might look like normal teenage behavior.
Yeah.
Or their,
and just taunts and naughty things that the kids do.
Naughty things. Yeah. So any change in behavior in children, anything that seems like out of the way. The child was normally doing this, but it's now changed. They're more angrier, or they're more sulkier, or they're more withdrawn, should always alert the parents that something's wrong. The first thing to do, obviously, as parents, is to have an open communication channel, to find out what is stressing the child. Because I
Right.
think a lot of the times, good conversation is all
Mhm.
that is needed to manage a child's stress.
Right.
Because what children face as stress may be something simple that doesn't need to come till specialists and can be sorted within the social situation of the child. So if there is bullying in class or bullying in school, they may need to address that, go talk to the teachers or talk to the parents of the children and, sort that. Or if there's, like teenage relationship issues, having an open conversation about it and being available to, support the child, whatever happens with the relationship. Or it may be due to related to examination stress or, educational stress or career stress. And that needs to be appropriately addressed. And so, making sure that we put enough motivation in children so that they perform well, but also ensuring that we are not putting so much pressure that academics becomes burdensome for them. Yeah.
Right.
uh,
Absolutely true.
but also to remember that during the last 2 years, the COVID pandemic itself has made anxiety or stress extremely common in all age groups. And I think children as a group have been forgotten. A lot of the time, children hear all these things, so they're exposed to a number of media outlets where they're getting exposed to death and dying and trauma and all of that, whereas there is not enough explanation of all of that, because a
Absolutely.
lot of people
And
may,
everything that they knew of, the everyday grind of going to schools and everything has changed. Word
yeah,
around has completely, changed for them.
yeah. And I think because they're at home, maybe we do not recognize it as well, because nothing's being missed. They're not showing anxiety. So we have seen as mental health professionals that anxiety in all age groups, especially COVID anxiety, is very high. You know, and I think if this is not spoken to with children, they can get very anxious as well. It is, so young children, I've had young children come in and ask me, why are we not being given vaccinations? Why is it that we are not important?
That's
You
so
know,
true.
what if I get COVID? All of you are getting vaccines. So there may be a lot of anxieties that they're not voicing. So talking to them about it, making sure. So this is about COVID, but this holds true for any anxiety in children. I think having an open conversation and letting them voice their concerns is very, very important. And despite having the conversation, if the anxiety persists, if the performance in day-to-day general things, not just academics, but just, showering every day, playing every day, or, eating appropriate food every day. If all that is getting compromised, taking a professional support or at least an assessment, one should not be hesitant for that. The stigma of mental illness is so high that people hesitate to come, be like, no, this is normal life. You don't need to, either get this assessed as if it's an illness. So people don't mind going for the smallest cut in their hand. The small cut is, insignificant. You can put a band-aid on your finger and go, but they'll be anxious about their children having a small cut and will take them to a pediatrician or a surgeon to ensure that that cut is okay. But significant things like anxiety in a child may be ignored, saying, no, this is okay, this is life, this is how it should be.
And you should,
So it
man
was,
up about it. And, you should be whining up or crying about it. And you should just take it in your stride. Everybody's going through this. And all
yeah,
kids, you people are enjoying. Normally, parents are like, we have been subjugated to, the financial losses and everything about it is about, adult word. They normally think
yeah,
the children shouldn't have any stress. They are playing around. They aren't even going to school. The kind of stress that
yes,
they used to. You aren't even
yeah,
subjected to that. So you should be more, freer and happier about it. But it's not so true.
yeah. It's not so true. Yeah. So very making sure that open conversation and the conversation channel is open all the time, and also if that doesn't work, not hesitating to take the next step in getting an assessment and seeing if the child needs anything more.
Right. As rightly mentioned, doctor, that the stress you have earlier spoken about, that stress actually affects our body's well-being. You told something about, physical manifestation of stress. So this stress can actually affect our body's well-being.
Yeah, surely. Yeah, just we call this the mind body connect. Yeah. So anything that happens in the body is going to affect the mind. And in the same way, anything that happens in the mind is going to affect the body. Yeah. So someone who has serious terminal illness like cancer or renal failure, it is going to affect the way they're thinking, or so that's the body mind connect. In the same way, anything that affects our mind. So if we are unable to process the anxiety, we are unable to process the stress, and the stress burden is too high for the mind, then the manifestations would be very clearly visible in our body. So, for example, an anxiety attack or a panic attack shows up as a physical manifestation and not as a mental manifestation. They may understand that there's some amount of anxiety in them, but the most pronounced manifestation is, oh, my heart is racing. I'm not able to breathe. I feel like my breath is choking. I am sweating profusely. Something's wrong with me. There's a tremor in my hands. So these can be physical manifestations of anxiety or panic. In the long term, too, I mean, there's enough evidence now to say that excess stress in life can cause significant long-term complications like cardiovascular health is affected, or gastrointestinal health is affected. We do not digest food as well. Our heart rate is consistently high, and that may cause other medical problems. So yeah, there is a mind body connect and the body mind connect, and anything that affects our mind will affect our body eventually. It's very important that to remember that there is no health without mental health. So focusing on mental health all the time, making sure that we take care of our mental health as well as we take care of the of our physical health. So we hear about most modern, young people making sure they go to the gym every day, making sure they keep their body fit, but there's not as much focus about keeping the mind fit. Am I okay? Am I stressed? And what do I need to do to decrease the stress?
What an insightful observation, really. They start pumping up, for their body and everything, but there is nothing, being done for here or here
Yeah.
for that matter. So now that we know that stress can actually cause so much problem for anyone, irrespective of age or position, how should one deal with, their stress?
So, making it a point like we exercise the body to also think of mental health all the time. Keeping a check on our mood. The first thing is obviously is observation. Or being insightful of what's happening in my mind. Am I distressed? So, if we see manifestations of stress in our life, as in I'm snapping easily, I'm getting angry easily, I'm crying easily. This is not me. Why am I behaving this way? Then we need to step back and think about what is it that is stressing me. Yeah, having mindful moments throughout the day and through every day, just few moments where we check on ourselves to say, am I okay? What's happening inside me? Yeah. And if the answer is yeah, I'm okay, I'm reasonably okay, yeah, I was upset about that and she shouldn't have touched my car like that, whatever, that's fine. But if there is a lingering problem, then doing something about it. So what can we do? Physical exercise, like I said, the body mind connect. Physical exercise is obviously very important, even for mental health, not just for physical health. So making sure you're physically active, physically fit is the first thing. Making sure you have enough sleep, making sure you have good nutrition. Just the basic things in life keep the mind very healthy. What can we do actually for the mind to be healthy? So, like I said, having time for oneself, for reflection. This can be done in various ways. So, in spirituality, we say chanting can help, or sitting in meditation, just being with oneself, being in thoughts is helpful. Yeah. Or if you're that kind of a spiritual person, actually reading something, reading the Bible, reading the Quran, reading the Bhagavad Gita might give you solace. Or if you're not into spirituality, doing things like pranayama, yoga, where you're focusing on your breath. You're not focusing on God, you're not focusing on spirituality, but you're focusing on yourself. Managing your breath, slowing your breath down such that your thoughts and your mind slows down. These are techniques that we do. So if you don't want to do any of this, and for younger people, we may want to suggest things that interests them more. So drawing, art, music, listening to music, playing music, whatever
Any
it is, or
personal
reading a book.
hobbies, anything which
Yeah,
relaxes your mind and puts you at
looking
ease.
after yourself.
Right.
Yeah. So things that make you feel happy, things that make you feel like you've accomplished something, and things that bring pleasure in your life are very important, and making sure you do all of these every day. Or at least you take a 7-day chunk and say, have I done something for myself? Have I soothed myself? Have I done something to take care of myself? Have I had my cup of coffee with my newspaper without disturbance? Maybe that's the one joy of your life. So making sure you have time for that.
Very well explained there. So that brings me to my last question. And before I let you go, I just noted that you are an addiction specialist. So I wanted to put the last question as how is stress related to addiction, doctor? Please elaborate on that before you go.
Yeah, that's that's the crux of addictions for a number of people. A number of people who smoke, or even smoke up weed, or who drink alcohol. The main explanation that they give when they come to see me is, I'm so stressed throughout the day, or I'm so stressed throughout the week, I deserve this break, as if it's a self-soothing
Right.
mechanism.
Absolutely true.
Like I said about soothing mechanisms, that you should do something to calm yourself, to enjoy yourself. So they have started it off as a soothing technique, self-soothing technique, but then it grows into becoming a problem. So drinking a bit of alcohol, some people may say it's not a problem, but when you drink it to forget sorrows, when you smoke a cigarette, when you light up, saying this is the only way I can decrease stress, that's when problem starts. Because there's never going to be a time in life when you're going to be stress-free. And that's fact in an adult world. And addiction is such a thing that it will drive you to more and more use. So you'll always have more and more excuses and more reasons why you're stressed, just because you want to light up once again or drink another 60 ml of alcohol. So it's very important not to connect stress and any addiction, alcohol or cigarettes or any other substance, because once connected, it's a self-propagating prophecy almost, that it'll just come true that you'll become addicted. It's very important that you use alcohol or whatever you use for socializing, or minimal use, and do not connect it with stress. Again, like the mind-brain connect, stress and addictions can be, two-way connected. So stress can cause addiction, or it's also very important to know that just using too much coffee, using too much cigarettes, and using too much alcohol itself can cause stress as well. It can cause anxiety, depression, and all other mental illnesses. So it's a two-way road. You have to be very careful not to use that road.
Yeah, it's a very negative, way of combating stress. And also it gets you in a vicious cycle where you are constantly, using, all these drugs or things, substances, and then it's not helping you at all.
In the end, it is you're just losing out.
Absolutely. So I know you are very, hard pressed for time, so I'll let you go now. Thank you so much for coming on our show. And it was such, a lovely time we had, because you explained things so beautifully and you gave your valuable time and such amazing insights. So let me just thank you from everyone here at MediCircle. It was really a pleasure
Thank you.
having you
My
today.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.